I'm Annie. I am the Community Outreach Manager at Wix.com. Just so we know, who has a Wix website? Okay, cool. Who does not? Half of you. This is an interesting crowd. I like this. So if you guys don't know about Wix, Wix has 47 million users. We have 500 employees worldwide. We went public recently, like 6 months ago. And we are growing really fast, and all of our growth is based on helping small businesses and helping entrepreneurs launch their websites and launch their side hustles and sell their products. And that's what we're passionate about. So what I get to do is I get to fly around the country and host great events that kind of help you guys. Now that you have a website, now what? Like what do I need to know? What can I do for marketing, social media, and web design, things like that. So we're here to help you tonight answer any questions that you have about Wix or about web design. And and we come from New York City. We have the Wix Lounge in New York City. So if you guys ever come by, it's a free co-working space, free coffee, free Wi-Fi. So if you're ever in New York, come hang out with us and check us out. And then we host events at night there. So this is just an extension of the Wix Lounge. And we're really excited tonight to have a Wix Pro with us. And I'll let Candice tell you a little bit more about what that means. But she has been on Wix since 2009. She was one of the first people that started actually designing professional Wix websites for other people. And she's going to kind of talk you guys through Design 101. And then my colleague Ariele is going to talk about kind of what are the web trends, what are the design trends happening now in 2014. So that's kind of the rundown of the night, and we are so excited to be here in Austin. This is one of our favorite cities to come to, so thank you guys for coming, and I hope you have a great night. Thanks.
All right, I saw hands of people who did not have Wix websites. How many of you want a Wix website? All right.
Building one count?
Yes.
Not quite published, but there.
Oh, building? That's fantastic. So how many people do not have a Wix, not interested in Wix? What are you here for?
Just to see what other tips and design trends you have to kind of take from it and apply in different areas.
Awesome. I have been doing Wix websites professionally since 2010. I am one of the first people in Austin who started using Wix, as Amy explained, back in 2009 when it was all Flash-based. Before HTML, before any of the mobile sites, it was Flash and it was flashy and people loved it, but Flash died, unfortunately. So hello there, I'm Candice. I am an Austin Wix Pro. What that means is I'm part of the Wix Arena. I'm one of the first Wix Pros from Texas and the first one in Austin in the Wix Pro Arena. To become a Wix Pro, you have to have designed multiple Wix websites, submit them for review for the entire Wix Arena team to be accepted and put into the arena to accept bids for design work to help Wix users with a few minor tasks in their websites if they want help with navigation, color schemes, graphics, Photoshop, or if they just wanted to turn it over and say, I love Wix, the price is right, it looks great, I don't want to do it, how much will you charge? So it's been an amazing journey. So what I'm covering, the topic that we're doing here in Austin is design tips for a trendier website. So I'm going to cover some basic 101s. So some of this will be a refresher. Some of it will be new, but it also helps for revamping sites, building current sites. If your Wix website has been up for a while, but you need something fresh and new and just keep a few things in mind. And then Arielle's going to come up and go over design trends for 2014, scrolling sites, really what's popular now, and what's really not as popular, one-page designs that stays above the fold for the entire website. It's not being as used as much. So I'll leave that into her discussion. So first, truly, what is your site's main goal? So really, when you start building your website, you're currently building or you're revamping, what is the site type? Are you a business? Is this for music entertainment? Are you selling your services for design? Are you having an informational page for a restaurant? Is this a personal blog, connect with family, family reunions? Those sites are very popular on Wix. Or just a personal website, personal portfolio for work, show your resume. Really, you have to define what is your site type. It goes into who are the visitors, who is going to be coming to your site, because you're designing the website for them, not yourself. So there's some pretty amazing sites that I look at daily thinking, wow, I love that site. I wish my site looked like that. I might go do it. But it may not speak to the people who would be looking for my services, looking for my site, or finding me on the web. It may not tell them what I do. So who are your visitors? Are they individuals, friends, family? Are they local businesses? Are you doing business-to-business relationships in e-commerce? Are they current consumers? Are you giving them additional information to get them engaged to come back? Are they clients? Are they potential clients? Are they people that are coming to your site for the first time and you want to get them engaged so they go deeper into your site and purchase products? And they love what they see, so they want to come back. And you can tie that in together with your marketing strategy, but you have to define what's your site, who are the visitors, and then what's the site objective? What actions do you want your visitors to take? Do you want them to look at your pictures? Do you want them to tell their friends about your pictures if you're a photographer? If you're a business and you're selling services, do you want them to read your vision, read what type of services you do, look through your portfolio, and then go somewhere and do an action? So go deeper than the first page, but you have to define what your website business goals are. Do you want them to go a certain direction? How deep in your site do you want them to go? So you have to give them a call to action. You have to give them a path, tell them visually what you want them to do. So how do you do that? Well, first, if you're getting started or you're revamping your site, or you have your current setup, you like it, but you want to make a few changes. For Wix, it's template-based. You can start from the ground up, write some of your own HTML code, pop it in from some of the code enhancements. But most people, even Wix pros, we start with pre-designed templates. They already have grid lines for placements for images, for some site navigation. Choose a layout, and you can change and brand it to your vision, to your website goals. So what you want to do is tell your story. You want to define the goal path. So if you're a photographer, you want to tell them about your business, but lead them to where you want them to go on your site. Your e-commerce, you want to give them a message and a call to action why they want to buy your product and why they want to buy it from you specifically and your website. So you want to give them a goal to work toward that's easy to get to. They may have to maneuver some, but you want to get them to what's called a CTA, a call to action. So how do you get there? I like to start first with simpler navigation. So always consider your visitor. You know your product, you know your business. If it's a family reunion, you know your family. You know Aunt Sue, they want to go see Aunt Sue's pictures. You know where you would want to go to get the information, but you have to consider your visitor. So remember what your site goals are. Make a checklist of important pages. So if you're selling services, give them, what do we do? Tell them about yourself, why they want to consider you, consider your services, and go deeper into the site to fill out a form or click the purchase button or buy more products and keep coming back. So you want to break everything down to the bare minimum. So that leads me to, what's a bounce rate? How many hands? Who knows what a bounce rate is? Awesome. You want to answer? You want to answer?
It's when people just go on your site real quickly and leave.
That's right. So a bounce, who has Google Analytics on their current website? All right. You see the section where it says percentage of bounce? That doesn't mean they couldn't connect to your site. That just means they went to your site, they didn't go any deeper, they didn't scroll, they looked, they didn't see anything that spoke to them, that told them something relevant to what they wanted to do, so they left. So the lower the bounce rate, the deeper the engagement. So you really want to pay attention and try to lower your bounce rate. That's something that you can look at Google Analytics, because unfortunately now you can't always see what their search terms are. So that's something that's changed recently with some of the algorithms with Google, that if they're logged into their Google account, that it's not going to show the keywords that they typed in to the search engine. If they're logged in, because of privacy acts, it's not going to track their keywords. But what you can pay attention to is metrics. How long do they stay in your site? How deep do they go? And get that bounce rate down. So give the audience what they want. Keep them there. Keep them longer than a bounce. Get them to scroll down. Show a video. Show part of a video. Yes?
Will it track the location of the site that they went to?
Yes. Google Analytics will tell you what pages they visited. You can look deeper into the bounce rate. So if you have landing pages, if you're doing pay-per-click ads and you have a specific landing page, which I highly recommend, if you're doing PPC, you want to give them the information they want. So if I worked in e-commerce, I actually worked for Big Commerce, which is a local company here. How many people know Big Commerce? Save hands. Okay, awesome. So Big Commerce is an e-commerce platform. So in e-commerce, when you're doing pay-per-click ads, a great example would be rubber duckies. So you have a product, it's the most amazing rubber ducky. You have ads on Google, and you get people clicking your ads, but they go to your homepage, which has toys. It doesn't have the rubber duckies. So they're going to bounce. They click something, they engage with something that spoke to them, but what they saw didn't keep them engaged. So that was a very good question. You can see in Google Analytics what pages, but you can't match it up to specific people or necessarily the specific bounce percentages. So there's an old term, some people are calling it a myth now, called the 3-click rule. I still like to abide by it for some instances, depending on the type of business. You want to get them to the information 3 clicks from your homepage. So if it's e-commerce and you're selling products, you want to be able to get them on your Wix site to the product they want in the description. So homepage, product and description, and get them to the cart, get them to be able to purchase additional products. So gone are the days of the landing page where it's enter here, click here, that's 1 click. Here's everything about us, this big image, but you're going to have to click again to go view a products page, then click categories, subcategories. Oh, there's rubber duckies, that's 5 clicks, and they haven't even viewed the product yet. So keeping it simple, which leads into layouts. So you were absolutely right. Google technically defines the bounce rate, the percentage of visitors that go only 1 page before exiting the site. So how can you fix your navigation? Well, I actually have a case study on a site that I'm launching tomorrow, in fact. So I'm a little jittery. I've been drinking a whole lot of coffee. Had a client, actually the business I work for my 9 to 5. I've been working for them for actually a little over a year now. And I told them in my interview, website's not that great. What do you do? I had to ask. After working there for 2 weeks and listening to the sales team, now this is a company that works with Fortune 500 companies. Some of our clients include Airmark. I talked to Capital One last week. I did training with them for email marketing. They're pretty cool people. There's a lot of hierarchy. Sometimes I don't always get my emails responded to, but they want me to respond immediately. But I would hear our sales team say, oh, well, let me tell you what we do. So they would call potential clients who engaged in the site, and these people that had given their information from a call to action were asking, what do you do? Now that's big for a company. That's bad. That's terrible. If you have to explain past your website, past emails, past social media, and you get someone on the phone for a larger scale business and you have to tell them, these are potential clients that have engaged with marketing collateral, what you do. So here's the old layout. It's still up live and running right now, so there's no defined path to CTA. It's difficult to navigate. 64% bounce rate. You want to, if you can, keep it under 50. If you're getting started 60, it helps you tweak it, but 64 is pretty bad. So if you look here, there's navigation on the top. And this isn't the bottom navigation. This isn't the side navigation. This is just the top right. So right here is another drop-down menu. I just showed one drop-down menu. And each of these are different pages that have additional links to drill down for more information. Some of these pages have a paragraph. So what they really wanted people to go to is content and demand generation, but just here, there's too many choices. People bounced. So the site launching tomorrow, in fact, after hours on a Friday, simple navigation. So compared to the slide on the left, on the right, case for change. Why do you want to buy from us? What do we do? How do we do it? So marketing as a service, content creation, marketing automation. So all of that stuff that you see on the left, there's 5 main things: what we do, how we do it, about us, and resources. And then moved some of the nitty-gritty stuff. If they still want to see more information, give it to them at the bottom. Camera opportunity.
Oh yeah. Hey, nice.
Oh, audience picture, here we go.
Oh my God, I love you. Perfect.
I mean, it was quiet when y'all walked in. Everyone got their food and just kind of sat down and started eating. I know the food's good, but we're here to learn, here to ask questions. I have questions and answers at the end, but this is stuff, this is a company that's been around since 2005. They've had this site going for 3 years. I've been telling them the whole time, and they finally said, okay, giving you a month, do it. So right on, I'm gonna see in the next month what that bounce rate is, because that 64% is over 3 months. That's the average. And that's not good. Yes?
Now, would the layout that you're providing here, the simplified and then more complex, would this also work with more of an entertainment mix website?
I've done quite a few entertainment mix. I've done DJs, I've done bands. What kind of entertainment? Services, events?
Well, our entertainment is online podcasting and blog work, as well as we, provide photography, just
Okay.
take pictures of whatever we do, interviews, things like
Gotcha.
that.
So what do we do? Or media at the top, the big thing. Hey, we got a whole lot of stuff. If you scroll over it, you can see it. But we're telling you this is the different things. Don't show them everything.
Yeah.
Show them a little bit, but if you want to, it's really popular now to do the bottom footer. And you can drill down. Now, if you have 25 links, I wouldn't do it. I'd do some subcategories.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be messy and you're right back in the same spot at the bottom of the site. They have to scroll down to get there. Your bounce rate's going down, but they're still not going to be happy. But yeah, I'd recommend it. Yes.
For the revamping you're doing, are you doing it with Wix?
I am using some portions for Wix. There are good things about every platform, there's bad. There is a certain piece of code that for some of the landing pages for the specific navigation, it's linking to other sites. But I built the entire mock-up. Some of what you're seeing here, this is a mock-up from the original design that was designed in Wix. So you can design the same layout and have more in-depth features in Wix that apply to small and medium businesses. So I love Wix. I truly absolutely love Wix. So next step, so you have your buyer's journey. You have what you want to tell your visitors, what your site's about. You have your navigation. You've already written down what pages. You want to choose your layout. So You want to go clutter-free. So simple. You want to give the buyer's journey, so negatives can be a positive. So you want to put visual hierarchy to use. So do, simplify, less is more. Dead space helps draw the eye to things that you want them to see. Put your message above the fold. So as I said before, they're scrolling websites. They're amazing. They're dynamic. I love them. But you still, what you see here, everything on the screen would be considered above the fold. So you also want to consider different screen resolutions. I have a 14-inch computer here. I have a 15-inch at home. I have friends that have 12-inch. But as you can see, these computers, if I wasn't doing a mirror and I was using this as a monitor, you get a whole lot more information up here. So be conscious of above the fold and pick a good variable in the medium, about the medium range, what information will be there. Because if I use this as a monitor, I could almost get a pretty good size scrolling website. But if you look just at my screen, it would cut it off. So you want your most important message, what they first see above the fold. Yes?
Okay, so that's above the fold just means the first screenshot.
That's exactly right. It's actually an old marketing term for newspapers. So your newspaper's folded, so they wanted the headlines above the fold of the newspaper. And that's how they sold newspapers, articles, some magazines that are paper printed, they're more local. So you want it on the top. Think of the Austin Chronicle. Sometimes they're folded, or there's some other local publications, how they put them out for free. But what's going to engage you? It's what you see on the top. Does that speak to you to go grab it? So white space, aka negative space, clearly defines the content hierarchy. So don't clutter it with too much stuff. Too much stuff, they may not stay long enough to see what you do, see your message, see what your call to action is. Avoid never-ending text. People don't read. Think about it. If you get an email, do you scan? If you get text from friends or family, and you have to scroll to read the text, you may look at the first couple of lines, and if you're busy, you're going to go on to do other things. And this is people that you care about, people that you know. Hydration is good. So don't do the never-ending text. Put everything on the home page or above the fold. Give your audience the reason to keep scrolling. So like I said before, videos or other things that they can barely see above the fold, that's good. So you may want to do a design where you have everything centered, everything looks beautiful above the fold, and then you want to put some dead space below it. Well, they may not know to scroll down to look at your footer, see what other services that you're doing. So if you hide a little thing right here, is something colorful, something that grabs their attention. If you're using a long scrolling website, they're going to keep scrolling down. They're going to want to engage more, which means less bounces and higher conversions. So remember the path to the goal when you're doing the layout. So here's what not to do. And here's an example directly from a Wix blog where I got a lot of my images, because the Wix blog has great information. I use it. I've been using Wix since 2009, and Wix has a wealth of information. You just have to search for it. So negatives can be a positive. So what you see going on here, well, beauty is everywhere, but I see music, I see videos, I see iTunes, I see Facebook links, I see a picture of water droplets on a tree. I'm not sure what this site's doing. Is this a musical artist? They have videos. I would leave this site. What you want to do, okay, beauty is everywhere. Maybe this is a photographer. So a very big statement piece. So this wouldn't be considered cluttering it up. This is the background, so you have something striking. So call to action, people read left to right, but if it's something symmetry is wonderful, but if you see something that's slightly not symmetrical, Cindy Crawford in her mole, memorable. That's not symmetrical. She has something that is not where it should be. Now, Tom Cruise, perfectly symmetrical. I mean, Aladdin was based off Tom Cruise for a Disney movie. But Cindy Crawford's interesting, and what makes her interesting is something that's not in place. So your eye is drawn up to the pink, the colors, and we'll go over colors, but your eye comes up here, so the call to action, click here, find out more. There's some site navigation up at the top that explains what the site does. The image is kind of small. Since it's in PowerPoint, I'm not going to stop it to blow it up, but call to action is up to the left. Photo focus. So tell your story with the photos. The last example was a very striking woman photography. So I'm thinking beauty, fashion, and it spoke with the text. The image before, there was too much stuff. There was an image of water droplets on a tree. That didn't speak fashion to me. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. So instead, like I said before, you don't want to have a whole lot of text. People aren't going to read it. Unless they go to a blog. Then they're going for an action to read what you put. But if it's not a blog, they're not actively going to read it. So show your story. Use high resolution images. Keep the image display consistent. So if you're using square images, don't have circles and triangles and rainbow images and different things. You keep some consistency. It'll help your branding, and it'll also help the trust factor. People trust symmetry. They like things that are slightly out of place, but they like consistency. Same for a job. If you have coworkers, they're working on a team with you, you want them to be there every day. If sometimes they're late from lunch and different projects, you don't have that trust, and the same goes for visual elements as well. So strong images can do the job of countless text. Yes?
A friend of mine whom I work with for our radio show, she posted a blog which was a webcomic review. And in it she did use a variety of words and pictures. Like as you were reading the webcomic review, you would see various pictures of the characters she was referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be?
No, that's perfectly fine. I'm talking about how you crop the images.
Okay.
So if anyone remember what the RSVP page looked like from Wix?
Yes.
So my image was in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had it cropped out where there's circles, some of the images are transparent, some of them are tinted pink, some of them are black and white, that's the consistency factor. You want, if you have a lot of black and white photos, group them together. But if you have color and black and white, that's perfectly fine, but you want them to be cropped kind of the same. So if they're elongated, or you can do striking mosaics that bypass the rule for photograph pages. So portfolios. It's not something you want to do on your homepage. So use real images. If anyone has ever searched, or you've probably seen some pretty terrible stock photos.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you're looking for a phone company and probably, or even support. Any company you can think of, everyone's seen this, where they go onto a website for support and you see the same girl. She may look different, maybe different haircut, different eye color, but she's always on a phone, always so happy. They have a beautiful office, blue background, and when you call, hello, how can I help you? It's a guy's voice, so it doesn't really speak to you because it's not real. So you want to give real images, real looking people that, like you guys in the room. If I took a picture right now, I could use you. You can take your own stock photos, but if you do want to purchase some higher quality stock photos, if you have a smaller company but you want to make it look big and important in boardrooms, get real looking people. So if you've been keeping up with media and design, Getty Images launched their Lean In collection of stock photos in early February. And this collection is real women. So these are mothers with tattoos. These are bored women who are actually leading presentations in some of the images could be me standing up here at a podium where there's a real group of people. It's not everyone who's a model that has that smile and that fake look that they're there to pose. It's real. It looks like a real image from a point in time. You connect more with that. So for this launch, the sales of the images, and this report came out last week, and it was shown on BuzzFeed. If anyone keeps up with BuzzFeed and several other syndications, that the sales of these images have already gone up 31% for these. So the days of the blue-collared shirts and the same unreal stock photos are going down. People want to connect with real-looking people. So you can use your real photos. Highly recommended. If you want to purchase, I purchase real-looking people. The great thing is Wix has a fantastic free image directory. It has some pretty good-looking photos in the editor that you can use for your website.
Where do you find those?
If you go under images, you can get into your gallery, and there's also going to be a button that says Wix that you can click on.
I think it says free from Wix. It's in
Free
another
from Wix.
tab. Yeah, in your gallery. So it's all Shutterstock photos.
Shutterstock?
You guys can use any of them,
Yeah.
even with your free website.
You get a free website and free stock photos. And you're not going to get the woman in blue collared shirt with a headset that you see
You
everywhere.
will actually.
Oh,
We do
We
have
have
it.
Just don't use it.
don't use that image. It's free. Don't do it.
You have to look for it though. It's pretty terrible.
See? She works at Wix. She says, don't do it. Right? I'm probably, am I taking too much
No,
time?
you're perfect.
Sorry, I like talking. I actually had to condense my presentation because I had too many slides and I didn't have enough time to finish. So photo focus. Don't do this. Don't do it. This is a real Wix website. This is in the blog. I'm not sure whose it is. I'm glad you cropped the top out that shows the name. Don't do it. Birds in the back. Strawberries. The same water droplets. I know it's a free image. Don't do it. The trees, botanicals, I don't know what they do. Yeah, and see, this is some of what I'm talking about. See, just pretend this image was cropped as a circle, and you got images on top of images. This one's a rectangle with a big block. Just don't do it. Ah, this is nice. What do you think this website does?
Travel? Destination?
But again,
I don't know, but it's visually interesting. There's one photo. Well, look, here she is. She's holding a camera, so she's a photographer. I know what this site does, and that's colorful. It's visually interesting. Look, there's dead space. So what you do is you look at the woman on the right. Oh, hey, subscribe to my newsletter. The other site, I don't know what they do. And they're using bad free photos. Don't do it. So color and background. So as you saw, some of the other sites, they used photos as backgrounds. Don't use the bricks. Remember Windows 93 to 95, the brick maze. Don't do it. Or the clouds. I was building websites, hard coding, and what did I use? I can't think of the name of that site. Geocities?
Yeah.
Oh, GeoCities. I always called it Geocities.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas. You know, I don't sound like I have a little bit of a twang. I had an opera scholarship in college, so I learned to talk with the tip of my teeth and the tip of the tongue, you know, try to have a lack of an accent, but some things I do have a little bit of a twang on, but Geocities, the clouds. Don't do it. Do clean. What you would like, not what you liked. You know, you're not going to be wearing jelly shoes anymore. Are you going to be wearing big sweatshirts with neon colored? Well, I can't say that. Forever 21 brought it back. But people don't want to see it on a website. So choose 3 to 4 complementary colors. I don't recommend McDonald's colors. That works good for logos, but not for site. Yellow and red, it's kind of harsh to look at if you're reading yellow text on red. So think about what is pleasant to the eye to look at. So what's pleasant? These white doors. This looks good on that color. You know, I chose yellow and black because it's striking. People don't really use yellow and black. It depends what mood you're in and what kind of mood that you want to go for. Kind of looking around this office. It's Capital Factory. See, we have the white with the black, that's striking, and then on the floor, hey, pops of color. We see Sparefoot. It's a yellow logo, so things jump out at you. You want to use something complementary, but sometimes you want to add a splash of color for those call-outs, like the image we saw earlier, the pink button. Your eye went right to it. If that was a light gray on dark gray, not as much. It's not as striking. That's why cops, it's not true. I have family in law enforcement, but people assume red cars that you're going to be pulled over more. The red is striking. So Wix has a great built-in color palette. If you don't really know what your branding is yet, they have some pretty amazing different filters and buttons you can click for colors that are complementary, but has one striking color that's going to go good with the group. And I have some business cards up here. I have some links for some pretty cool tools if you want to find complementary colors too. If you want to send me an email, I don't have the link on me, but I do have some saved. But use your color to support branding. If you have your logo together, use colors that support it. So if you're doing lime green, you probably don't want to put it on top of red. It looks like Christmas. It's not giving the right message. So too many colors can distract visitors. A splash of color can grab attention. That text just pops out. I used blue on two slides. So all the other sides have been consistent background. You got your black, you got your yellow, call to action color and clean. I want you to look at those. Big text, but blue. Your eye goes right over there. Grab attention. So some of the most recognizable and successful brands only use 1 to 2 colors. Coca-Cola, white and red. Apple is gray with a white logo. You know it. You trust it. And Wix, it's yellow and black. They have a lot of blue complementary colors, so these are all Wix colors. We got the yellow, we got the black, we got the white, but they do a lot of pops of colors with blue. A lot of their different logos. Am I right about that?
You're on it.
So I could go in deeper detail. I was trying to stay on the surface for RGB color schemes and actually get down to what the actual color is. If you can, in the Wix editor, or when you find a color, write down what the code is. So when you do print materials, a computer screen is deceiving. This screen looks different from this one and this screen. You're never going to match the same color unless you know what the code is, so it'll be consistent. All right, help. So don't do it. This is a random website that is real. You still find these. Yes, I covered up what the actual car company website is. They're trying to sell products, but so many things. Don't do it. This is bad. Don't. Stay away. And I bet he loves it. Anyone read the Oatmeal?
Yeah.
Yes.
Y'all do. Fantastic online comic series. It's called the Oatmeal. Graphic designer. He started creating images about semicolons, how to use commas, and putting funny imagery together. I'm thinking of a different blogger, what an allot is. That's a different blogger, but still in the same, making fun and light of everyday things people do. And websites. He's a graphic designer, so he has one story that he's kind of pulled together for a different couple of stories. He has books. I have the coffee table books. They're funny, but it's how a website goes bad. Companies that he does a nice, clean design, and they're like, well, I want a cat with a toaster flying. I want a rooster. I didn't see that one earlier. Funny faces and oh, he does have a call to action. He says me. I hate to say it, you can find this website. I designed it. I ran into one of those clients. It's a local music group here in town, and I can show you after this if you really want to see it. It's bad. He paid me though. So I accepted money for it. I didn't pay someone to do it. I wasn't doing it for myself. Someone gave me cold hard cash and said, I know you're a designer, I know what you're talking about, but this is what I want. The band is called the Flying Balalaika Brothers. You have your laptop up. It's Flash. He's one of the people that didn't want to go to HTML. He's hard-headed. Okay. He's Russian. He's great. His name is Zhinya Rock. And Sergey on the balalaika. They're a really great group of guys. They're crazy Russians. But the site is called Russia FBB. The tour bus. You want the tour bus to go across the site. There's spotlights that pop up and start waving. It's baby blue logo on red. And a flying balalaika. Anyone know what a balalaika is?
English, please.
It's like a mandolin.
Oh.
But men play it. There's a dorma, which women play. It's a female instrument, and then a balalaika, which men play. It's kind of a cross between a mandolin and a bass with 3 strings. So the Flying Balalaika Brothers, it is a balalaika with golden wings, and it flies across the site. I show it because I get a kick out of seeing the site. Don't do it. Oh, someone got it pulled up here. If you refresh it, you'll see the Flying Balalaika and the tour bus.
And the tour bus goes from right to left, not left to right.
Yes, the tour bus goes from right to left, and then the balalaika flies from left to right. After the tour bus goes past.
And somebody pops up and points at you.
Yes, somebody pops up, there's pointing fists, there's flashing lights. Don't do it. I did it because I got paid to do it. This is what you do want to do. So here's a couple of, this site's using 4 different main colors. So it's consistent. So we have red, we have yellow, we have the Pinterest. Your eyes go here, so you see the social media, that's going to be a call to action. And then across the top, easy navigation. I think I can stand on here. All right, urban weds country. Pretty self-explanatory. Yes?
Question. Do certain backgrounds come with certain templates? Because I don't recall seeing that.
Yes, but you can change them.
Oh.
They're fully customizable. This is the whole point. You choose a template, do whatever you want that suits you. So for this template, it may have been a white background. I'm not sure which template this is offhand, but change the colors, change the background, change the images. So for this one, it's all grid lines. So it's symmetrical down the middle. So it's going to keep within the same line. So if you see here, this white space is consistent. The white space right here is consistent. Consistency with the images, it draws your eye, you trust it, it's comfortable, it's familiar. So here are the calls to action, the colors here. The screen is really, really bright, so it's hard to see, but there's shop now, so a big call out right here. And then you see the 3 things that she wants you to do instead of giving you all this information, all this stuff that doesn't interest you right now. Home, which you're at. Blog, if you want to read text, you go specifically, you click a blog to read, and shop. That's it. If I looked up the site, I'd be pretty certain it'd scroll down and you could see other things. She does have additional navigation up here, but because it's complementary colors to the light, it doesn't stand out, so her calls to action do. What she wants you to do, she wants you to shop. So font family, reading with ease. Let me know if I need to speed up. I know it's a lot longer than 20 minutes. Yes?
there's not a way to add like filters or anything on the background, is there?
There is. You can make it transparent. They have a full photo editor. So if you find one of their free images or
Just so like say there's a gray background or something, I just go in there and edit and do it that way?
Yeah, they have a full functioning editor that's pretty cool if you need to brighten.
Yeah, I use it for like specific images. I just didn't think about using it for the background.
Yeah, I believe so. You can do that with the background, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same editor.
It's just an image. So anytime you want to edit an image, you can just open up the image editor, edit it, and then make that edited image your background.
Yeah. I just kind of wanted to like add a little texture, and I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna find something.
Background, that's cool. If it's all your images, try to keep the same texture. But
just for the home screen.
Yeah. Something that draws your eye that's interesting. So rule of thumb, 2 fonts. I like to keep with the 2 fonts coming from marketing and kind of newspaper, old school, but I do up to 3. Don't go crazy on the fonts. So try to keep the same specific header and paragraph. As you've seen, my font family reading with ease. It's been the same font across, the same size. You can set it in Wix to automatically do font families, fonts that are complementary, and then you can create your logo in Wix. Some of my first logos that I created for different websites and clients, they didn't have a logo yet, but they want some text up on their website, so you can choose fonts, and they have font families, things that work together, but be mindful of your company journey, your story. Some florally fonts are not going to work if you're selling power tools. It doesn't work. So try sans serif for body fonts. Sans serif is usually, it doesn't have the little nicks on it. I kind of like it. It's visually interesting, but a lot of newspaper companies, if the font gets really, really small, especially for blogs, it's hard to read because it kind of scrunches all together. So it's good for big headers. But if I had a whole lot of text here, you wouldn't be able to read it because it'd be kind of scrunched together. So serif, what you're seeing here is serif, usually for bigger fonts, if it's something big. And I think up there is, I think I have 60 or 70, and consistently, in the 30 range for points. So make the font bigger than you think you need because screen sizes differ. And tiny little text, you know what it says, but again, people may not read it. So legibility is your goal. So not style, is it readable? The first thing the reader sees isn't the title or details, but the overall pattern. So if I go back here, you can see the patterns. You may not be able to read it, especially from where you're sitting, but you can see the pattern and the layout. So on average, users have time to read about 20% of words on a web page, according to Nielsen Norman Group, who does a lot of in-depth research studies. So they'll see the overall layout, but even on your homepage, give them the call to action. If they want to read it, they'll come back and read it. But if there's too much text and they don't have a call to action, they're going to bounce. They're going to leave. Think about the example website I'm working on. That's way too much in the navigation. I didn't show you the site. That was just the navigation. Keep it simple. So font family with reading ease. So as you can see, this site, it has different fonts, but it's visually striking. You can read it. Now this, it's a long scrolling website, so I had to scrunch it down a little bit, but you can see the story, you can see the complementary colors, and you can see the headings. So if you're interested in what the heading says, you're going to read it. And over here, which is actually the template I used for my site, because I didn't pay myself to make it, so I didn't spend as much time on it, and it was great colors. This isn't my site, by the way, but this is the same template that I used because I liked it. It's easy to read. We are a design agency that thinks differently. Yes?
I do want to ask you, now for, say, a logo that was created but has a predominantly black background with color for the wording, would you suggest that a white or something simple be used to, you know?
Especially around it, I wouldn't put a black logo even if it has a color border right on black, but it depends on how thick the color is. So
I guess the best way to describe it would be if it looked like it was supposed to be a neon light kind of.
I'll take a look at it after.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there another hand?
I have a question. When you say complementary colors, I mean complementary is red and green. I didn't think red.
Something that complements. So if I wore a bright orange UT shirt with this jacket, it wouldn't go together. It'd clash. It'd be hard to look at. So I'm talking complementary. There's been research studies that couples tend to sometimes resemble each other. They look similar. So they complement each other. If you've ever heard the term, certain jewelry complements a certain woman. I can't wear gold. It just doesn't complement me. So it's colors that they can be striking against each other, but they're not harsh on each other. So this is pretty good. So green on black, this works. So you can have filters for the different colors here, but I would not put this green color on text right on top of the pink. That would be harsh. It's hard to read, it's hard on the eyes. So think, again, to Cindy Crawford, interesting is good, symmetry is good. Too much going on, too many colors, it's something harsh about it. People don't engage with it. So for text, this is an example. This is directly from the Wix website. Again, not my site, but I did use this template. It's too much text. Like I said again, for research studies, people glance over and see how the text is laid out, but compared to this, these are both homepage images. So design agency, who we are and what we do, well, they have an about us page. They should put that information if someone wanted to read everything they do and their credentials. The first thing, you want to get them engaged. Design agency, I'm not going to read that, I'm going to leave. So one of the last topics, don't forget mobile. Again, screen sizes. Great thing about Wix is they have an amazing, when did you release the new editor?
The mobile editor?
Yeah, the newer version. You've always had a mobile version. But
Yeah,
there's
the newer version?
the newer version where you don't have to go.
Less than a year ago.
Yeah. So it's pretty awesome. In all Wix websites, it's built, you don't have to go to a different screen. It's built into the editor. So you can click and go directly to how the mobile site is going to be laid out. Because sometimes you may need to change the headers. If you have great big fonts and you don't make a mobile site, well, then it may go D-O-N-T as someone's trying to scroll. So remember, give the information that they want on that first screen. Because 2013, this is last year, 17% of web traffic was mobile. People use apps, but if they want to look at websites from your social media, from LinkedIn, from all different places, a lot of times they're doing it from their mobile devices. So you want to create a mobile version of the site with the information, creative events where they can see it on their phone. And then if they go home and they get on a larger screen, they can see the full screen. So it's varying reports. For last year, 16 to 25% of documented web traffic. It depends on the analytics. And if they bounce, it's not as much engagement. So highly recommend do a mobile website. Just do it. You didn't hear me say that as much as don't do it, but do it.
But you can do it on your computer. You don't have to build it on the phone.
That's absolutely right. But there are mobile apps that if you're on the go and you want to edit your images and do some other pretty cool stuff, Wix does have an app. So if you're on the go, but it's easier to see it on the big screen. So, any questions? I know I've been taking them throughout, but any questions? Yes.
I actually have some questions more about issues that I have with the website that I'm creating.
Okay.
So I don't know if we're gonna have another section for that or
We could talk about specific questions to you that are specific to you afterwards. We'll have a little bit of time to chat one-on-one, but let's keep this to a sort of more generalized, not so much specific to your issue.
All right, so yes.
What about charging customers to activate a link that are taken to a different server?
Can you give me some more information? I'm not quite sure what.
To access information from a link.
Okay, so they would have to purchase to go to a link. So it'd be more of e-commerce.
It'd be transferring files.
Okay, let's talk after. It's so I can get some more information. See if I can help you. Yes.
How does Wix handle blogging and content management?
That's probably going to be
It's pretty awesome.
Okay.
Back in the Flash days, and when they were moving to HTML5, they had a separate blogging platform. You had to use subdomains, same as you would do with WordPress. Subdomains are great if you can keep consistent design, but it doesn't help you for SEO. It's a different domain. Wix is pretty amazing in their editor. It's a built-in blog and content management system. It keeps on your domain. It's going to be a separate subfolder. So it's going to continue to help you. And one section that I did take out that goes along with design is content. And if I can give 2-minute. So content is king. I didn't have time to do the slide, so it's not up there. But content is amazing. If your design is great, everything on your site is converting, but you may see a lag in SEO, or you want to give more information to returning buyers, or just keep giving great information if you have it to give. Blogging is fantastic because content is king. If you do not update a website, it becomes stagnant. If you don't do anything, you're going to go kind of stagnant. And I saw kind of a funny picture yesterday from another graphic artist and content editor. That if you want to hide a dead body, you put it on page 3 of Google. Because no one's going to find you. And the best way is content now. So blogging, Google loves good content. If it speaks to your brand, speaks to what you're selling, it goes with the site. If you're keyword stuffing, don't do it. Actually, good content that supports the website, supports the brand, it's going to help you because it's new content that the meta crawlers can crawl and help you with SEO. It's also a good opportunity if you want to create landing pages that are specific to specific items for pay-per-click ads to lead them to the information that they want. If you have a consistent blog that you have a lot of followers, it's going to help you. So content, white papers, infographics, things, new information that has text that's relevant to your business. Don't put it on the homepage, but put it in the blog. You can set up new blogs pretty quickly, put images. The layout is fantastic for different categories, different folders, specifically for the blog function in Wix. Highly recommend it. Yes.
Does Wix have any like functionality for like weekly newsletters, or do you use an outside source?
Wix has a great app library, so they directly connect with MailChimp. Any others?
Like MyEmma or MailChimp?
Constant Contact.
We don't have, it's not within the Wix platform that you're making the emails, but we give you the ability to easily put a link on or put a submission form on your website so people can add their emails to your mailing list.
Okay, cool.
Through
and
your
then
website.
On the Wix app, can you blog from that? Is it set up to let you? No. So you have to be on the computer screen to blog.
Keeps you from mistyping and misspelling. Misspelled words are bad.
I did want to ask, does Wix allow you to take your content from, say, blog sites like WordPress or anything like that and put it on there?
There's an actual embed function where you can just take the URL from that website and bring that entire site into.
There's like
Wix.
there's a Tumblr
And there's
app.
a Tumblr app.
There's an
a few
e-blogger
different-
app.
We don't
Yeah.
use Tumblr. I I stray from that as much as possible. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
If it's WordPress and you have a subdomain, I recommend moving it over. And I was just told there's a new archive feature, so if there's some older posts, move them over, date them, and archive.
Brand new, like as of 2 days ago.
2 days ago. I just found out tonight.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I was wondering if your opinion on what would be your preference if you are, let's see, like you want to be a social media consultant and you're building your page. Would you pick a template that is more like business-like or like blogging?
Depends on your company. My company is different from other design firms, design companies. I focus on certain things. So it depends on you.
Because the only thing is like, and this is probably just for me, but the blogging layout, it's so long that you just have to keep on scrolling down to see all the content. So I don't know if that will play against me actually more than just having a static.
Well, what you can do is set it up for how many posts that you want to show. So you don't have to show all of them on one page. You can have it show older posts. So they have
Maybe
to
shorter. Okay.
And use search features and different things. So if they want to find a certain topic you may have written about before, they can find it. Categories, use tags. Yes. And descriptions and the short descriptions. You don't want to put the entire blog where they have to scroll through the entire blog to get down to the next blog and they have to see all the comments and all the tags that you have.
Right.
Condense it. Show part of it. Show something striking to make them click to read more. So I am going to hand it over to Ariele and be more than happy to stay a few minutes after and answer any specific questions for specific sites. More than happy.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much. We're going to just switch to my computer for a second.
She has a Mac.
Really quick or anything?
It's pretty awesome.
It gets angry with, dealing with other things.
It doesn't like dealing with PC things.
Oh my, yes.
It's not connected yet. So, we'll see. If not, we'll call the guy who said he knows how to fix it.
Is it up? It should be coming on.
Perfect. There we go. We're gonna
It's actually
Awesome. So I don't know if you guys want to grab a drink or you guys are happy. I'm going to start. And so my name is Ariele Krantzow, and I am the outreach manager for Wix. And oops. There is my contact information. I left my Twitter, so if you guys are tweeting tonight, go for it. What I'm going to be talking about is just general design trends that are happening in 2014, and I've had long conversations with our design studio, which is based in Tel Aviv, about this particular topic. And it's something that, as I work with web design on a daily basis, it's something that I see that's been changing. I started working at Wix in 2010, and the amount of progress that web design has made has gone so quickly, and it's changed immensely over the last even just a few years. So I think a good thing for all businesses to do is to actually make sure that your website looks current, not just keeping the same design that you've had since 5 years ago, because the same way that you don't wear the same clothes that you wore 5 years ago, although I'm pretty sure I've had this dress for about 5 years, it's a lot of things change and a lot of things move on and you need to add different elements to it. Not the content can still be the same, but it's just visually making it appealing and different. So trend is a direction which something is developing or changing.
made this cute little animation for me. So what we're gonna really be talking about today is fonts, oversized everything, grids, flat design, and the death of the homepage as we know it. They're so clever. So the first thing that we're gonna talk about is fonts. And I'm really giving a basic overview of what's going on. If we have more detailed questions, feel free to ask them at the end. What's becoming really popular is really big fonts, making sure that you can actually see what's going on and just bringing attention to, Candice talked about call to actions, but bring attention just to a small area of text and not having a ton of text on your site. So this is something that's a little bit outdated, and it looks mostly like a blog at this point instead of an actual website. This is also something that I've seen that is just a little bit too much text. No one's really looking at it. This is something that's becoming a little bit more current, is using interesting visual and using interesting typography. So making sure that you're actually drawing attention to a small area, and you don't need to explain everything that you're doing right at the beginning.
Did you say typography?
Yes. Typography is, most people use the word font to choose a font. Typography is sort of the general term of what fonts are. So using a small quantity of text is also is part of that. So it's making sure that you're using large text and using small quantities of text. What we've noticed over however many years that people have been using websites is that nobody reads anything that you write on your website. I think Candice gave a statistic that was 20%, right?
If they don't bounce.
If they don't bounce, they read 20% of the text on your website. So by making your text larger and actually having less text on your site, it's more likely that they're actually going to read all of the information, and figuring out the way to actually make sure that the small amount of text that you put on your site matters. So making sure that, for Wix, it's design stunning websites for clients, and then there's the call to action, start now. We don't need more than that. Most websites don't need more than that. It's different if you're on an about page or one of the further pages on the website, you can explore more. But when someone first gets to the site, you need something to draw them in, and you don't want to overwhelm them immediately.
That doesn't hurt the SEO, really? That doesn't hurt the SEO?
Not particularly, not from what I've heard.
Okay.
So this is just another example of making sure that something really catches your attention as you're going in. There's just another interesting site, just to show you a couple of examples of how few people are doing it differently. The second thing that I'm going to be talking about is oversized, big, everything. This is kind of old, right? We've all been to this site, and it's sort of starting in that direction of making everything bigger, but we're getting a little bit more towards even larger, making things interesting crops. You don't have to show the entire photograph of an object. If you crop it in the right way, people are going to get the idea. And again, doing something larger, more interesting. And this also shows really nice separation of content as well. And it uses the ideas of a nice clean photo and simplicity to go along with it. And even though there's that pop of color that Candice was talking about, and it's sort of larger text, and then there's more of an explanation to the side. Grids are something that has, with Pinterest, has become kind of popular lately. it actually just showed back here, I think, a Windows phone, right? Grids, they're becoming quite popular. It's becoming a way that, even though Windows Phone didn't really do that but they're using that trend as a way for it to actually work. And so separating different areas into different content, into different areas, making sure that everything's in its own place. And so you can see different examples of how that's being done with images and text and images and text. And this is also a nice example of how to actually take all the information that you want to give and arrange it in an interesting way. And got a little excited about that. And this is actually a Wix site, and this is a gallery that we have that allows you to create so this grid idea as you're going along. You're not really we have the option for thumbnail galleries, but no one's really making them anymore. Everything is a little bit bigger and more accessible at the moment. What's also becoming quite popular is taking that idea and actually just getting a little bit messy. So having some interesting angles going on, using circles, and really mix and matching. I believe the term is power clashing, right? Yeah, I did that once. I kind of regret it. But it's the type of thing that if you actually take a minute to think about how you want to lay out your site, you can start with the original boxes and then move them around and make them angular and a little bit interesting, overlap them.
No, you are able to do that on the Wix site, correct? Yeah. Okay.
Cool. And this is just another, I think, interesting example of a site. So who here? Yeah.
Actually, I have a question. So let's say that you rearrange all the modules and get created and messy, right? That's for the homepage. But then, and I know you have the option to either keep the same format for the new pages. So when you create a new page, what I have found is that I create a new page, some of the elements from the first page I still want on the second page. However, the minute I move them around on the second page, because it's different content and I have to move it around, it moves the boxes from the home page.
So that's because they're probably, what you're doing is that the element that is on the home page is probably showing on every page. And so there's actually, what I would do instead of what you're doing, if you just duplicate and just copy that element and bring that separately to the other pages, you can then move that around separately, and it doesn't have to be, it will look like the same element, but it can actually be a separate element.
So you can just copy the module onto the new page?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then rearrange it.
Exactly, and then it won't anything that, so, a lot of the time your logo, you only have one logo actually on your entire website, but the same logo is showing on every single page. Same with your menu bar, it's probably showing on every single page.
Yeah.
This element, if you want the element one way on one page, and even if you just want to make it a little bit smaller on the other pages, if it's that one same element showing on every page, what you change on one page will change on every page. So if you actually duplicate that, you can keep the element one way on one page and change it a little bit, even if it's a tiny amount of adjustment, it won't affect the other pages. You have to actually make a second version of that element.
That would work for the heading as well?
Yeah.
Like menu buttons, if you were to duplicate them, then make them smaller, say, they could still work just fine?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So who here has the new iPhone 5, right? Any version? Okay. Who here knows that when iPhone 5 came out, there was this huge thing that all of a sudden everything was flat, right? Okay. So basically what the trend has been is that you're trying to make things feel like the physical object. So one of, I think, designers' favorite things to do for the past however many years is to try and make their button look like you could actually press it and touch it and giving it the right, where's the right shadow? And there's a formula for it, but how do you get the right shadow and what's the right color to make it look real? That's sort of been thrown by the wayside, and we are now going into flat frames. So everything is just flat as it is. We've accepted the fact that this is a screen, it's not real. I know that I can probably click on that with my finger if I'm on a phone or an iPad. And we no longer need to be convinced, we don't need to be shown that this is a button. And you don't need to, I think ribbons have been really popular lately. Like every website I go to has a ribbon on it. And that's sort of something that you can feel, something physical. And there are still businesses and places where something more physical is appropriate, but generally speaking, making things actually flat is becoming more popular as time goes on. And I think for the next at least couple of years, this is really where design is going for screens. And even when you go into e-commerce, it doesn't look, you don't see that this is on someone, it's just sort of taken a nice photo, it's flat, you see what you're buying, all of these, none of them, they don't have drop shadows, they're just sort of on there. Even though this has a little bit of physicality to it, it still looks flat, it still has that feel to it. So you're really making sure that while to sort of move away from, trends are sort of moving away from that actually you can go and touch it feeling. So the last thing, or the second to last thing I'm going to talk about actually, is color. There's a few different things I'm going to say about color, but the first thing I'm going to say is that color washes are becoming quite popular, and what I mean by that is really giving your website the same feel as it goes through it, the same coloring. It looks like you've taken a watercolor class and just painted a little bit of watercolor over certain elements on your site. And you're going to start to see that more and more as sites go on. And it's really just a way to give a little bit of more of a singular color and being able to draw attention to something without having 8 different colors on your website. You want to keep it as simple and as clean as possible. And the actual last thing I'm going to talk about is scrolling sites, and I'll talk about color in a second there as well. But for that, I can't really show a scrolling site in a PowerPoint presentation, so I'm just going to actually go into the browser for that. So one of the sites actually Candice used already, but this is just a really, is that not showing anything? Oh. There we go. There we go.
The full effects. Full effects.
So what you can actually see is that in this website we saw a little bit before, but they're using color blocks. That's also becoming really popular as a way to, as scrolling pages are getting more and more popular, to separate from section to section, actually using color blocks as a way to differentiate where you are on the site is pretty interesting. And then,
would that be an example of like a blog where you could like read more, or are those like in each of those color
no, this
blocks,
is just this is just the website. That's it. So instead of having an about page and a services page, that's just the entire site. It's just one scrolling page. Here's just another version of it. This is a portfolio site. And these sites don't work for every type of website, but this is where trends are going. for sites in general, where you can keep scrolling and sort of move on. This is a site that that actually was done pretty recently, and what's really cool about it is not only can you just scroll down, but you can actually just click on these buttons and it takes you where you need to go on the page.
So the whole site's one page?
The whole site's one page. Yeah.
Home pages are very popular. I've seen that on Wix as well.
Absolutely. And so what I'm going to actually just go into a little bit right now is I'm actually going to go into Wix and just show you a couple of the newest features that are coming out and really how to do what I just talked about, which is the anchor text.
Can I ask you a quick question about the scrolling? So is the reason for the new, do you think that the reason why the scrolling is coming back, because it kind of reminds me of where stuff started 10, 12 years ago, is it so that they're not getting the bounce rates, or so that you're on one page?
No, it really has nothing to do with that. It really has to do with the fact that it has to do with mobile.
Okay.
For the most part, iPads, mobile, it's easier to scroll than to change a page. That's really where the trend's coming from. And for me on my computer, I have scrolling set 2 fingers up and down. It's a lot easier for me to do that than to go, okay, scroll down, and then I have to scroll back up to the menu, click it, and continue on.
So a scrolling site wouldn't have any clicks?
It can. So what I just showed was that it does have clicks, but it doesn't. You don't need to have them.
It doesn't go
so
to another
for
page.
mobile, you wouldn't necessarily need to make a brand new site for mobile. You can and adjust it for mobile, but it's not. So on an iPad, you can just keep scrolling down, scrolling. So what I just want to show you is right here. These are called anchor text, anchors. So if you actually I've put this here. I've labeled it for myself. I've gone to the settings, I've labeled it about. And then I just made a button up at the top and I've said link to, and it says which page am I on, where am I, and which anchor link do I want it to go to. And that's how it's going to know that when someone clicks on here to go to this particular point on the page.
And where did you see the anchor settings?
So you're gonna go to add, and you're going to go into buttons and menus, and you'll see anchor. Okay. And you'll add an anchor. It will give you a little bit of an explanation, and add the anchor, and then you can move it to where you want it to be on the page.
So that was what the last site you showed us with the lady in the blue. That's what she had.
That's what she had on her site.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's.
And you do that for each one of your anchors?
Yeah, you can do that. So I have on my site here, and I just did this in 5 seconds before you guys got here.
Wow.
But so I have work over here, and this is just a template. I didn't really change anything on here at all. And this is contact. So you could just put the anchors where you want them to be, and then you can link to them that way.
So when someone goes and visits the site, the anchor, the anchor that you have up there, like how we see it, Tom Carter, about.
Right, so you don't see it.
Yeah.
So I just go to about,
and it will just stay there the whole time, so people don't have to worry about scrolling back up.
Exactly. And so you can actually make this stay at the top.
Like an Excel.
That's definitely convenient.
Yeah, that's I think my favorite. Oh, and Yoda. 2 favorite things that I really like. And then there's I think there's one other new feature that I think was really awesome, and it's just escaping me at the moment. What was I talking about before?
Fixed header?
So to make your header stay at the top, we have fixed position. So if that wasn't clicked on, and I clicked to work, it would bring the whole site and you'd lose that header and people would have to scroll back up. So we have, so if you just click that on, it'll stay in one place. There was an actual new feature that I really wanted to show you guys that was really cool.
Image transitions? Yeah.
That came out.
Animations? Or?
Animations, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew there was something. So let's say you wanted this text to actually come in at a later, you want it to fade in or you want it to come in from the side. You can actually have it, I think, where is it?
All that is nice.
You can really sort of, well, now it's a little intense, but you can have it float in from the direction that you see, how many seconds, you can make it longer. Does it delay? So if there's how long of a delay that there is in the site. And do you want to animate on the first time that a site's loading? So if I click OK and go to preview, you can see that it just faded in slowly.
Will you navigate and show where you went to do that again?
Yeah.
Sure. So if you actually just click on the element,
Edit.
add animation
Okay.
is right there in the customization menu. So those are my two favorite new features. One thing for you guys to be aware of, how many of you that use Wix have actually clicked on the app market before? That's about right. So I want everyone who already has a Wix website here tonight to actually go home, that's your homework tonight, is to go home and actually click on this app market. Because there are so many tools in here that, that are really going to help with your website. So when you signed up to come tonight, you filled out a form. We don't have that as an option on Wix. I actually used a contact form builder to actually get you guys to actually sign into the actual form.
Are they all free apps, or are they both paid and free apps?
They're paid and free, and most of them have a free version. And then for me, I have a paid account because I've exceeded my number of forms that I'm allowed to use. But this is for joining the mailing list. We have tons of different apps for joining mailing lists, and they're separated into different categories. So for e-commerce, Wix has a native e-commerce platform, but it has its limitations in some different areas, and we have several different options. So if you're looking for using more if your e-commerce is a little bit more intense, then you're just selling 20 different products online that you can pretty much manage yourself. We actually integrate with Shopify. And these are just a bunch of relationships that we've created. Someone mentioned paying for downloads or something before. This app, Get Tonic, is actually, you can, let's say you want to download a PDF, you can actually click on it, make them pay, and then the PDF will download. Or music or anything like that.
Even if it's on a different server, not your website, an FTP server?
I'm not 100% sure how that works. If it's on a different link, I think you just put in whatever it is. You put in a link, you put in
the link.
you put in
The file is going to be on Wix.
You don't have to upload the file to Wix. No. You might have to upload the file to Get Tonic, but because they're going to be your content management system for the store. Yes.
So I signed up for Wix, but I haven't went on it and explored it very much yet. I've done Weebly sites, so I'm guessing I see some stuff you do that seems like a lot better already, but that's good. I was hoping to see more things. So, but I'm wondering if I create a site, what is the domain name going to be?
So if you have a free Wix website, it'll be your username.wix.com / the name of your site. So if I go to here, right, and I click publish, I always love publish. I've published so many random sites. It is my username, akrantzow.wix.com / test random letters.
Okay.
That is what I named my site. That's what I did. When I hit save, that's what I saved it as,
And if I own a domain?
So if you own a domain name, you can very easily, transfer it to Wix. We have step-by-step instructions for most of the, if you go here, and let's say you bought your domain name at GoDaddy.
Does that cost differently then when you do that?
That is part of, that starts with upgrade, so if you want to put in your custom domain name. But it's anywhere from $5 to $20 a month, depending on what you're really doing.
Is there a limit to the number of websites you can
I
create?
have a different domain than Wix, and I don't pay anything. And I'm a Wix customer. I don't know, I mean, I pay my domain. I pay my domain company, but I don't pay Wix for it to incorporate, to merge with that.
All you gotta do is, to the server that's gonna be running.
Well, maybe it's a new thing.
But you can't do it
We
if you're a
didn't
free
used to
Wix
charge
user,
me, now they do.
Yeah, I'm a free Wix user.
So you might be forwarding your domain.
Maybe that's what I'm doing, I don't
Then
know.
you might be forwarding your domain to your free Wix site. That I don't really know. So basically, we have step-by-step instructions for you how to do that. We have sort of the larger.
Is there a limit to how many sites you can create?
No, you can create as many sites. I'll show you my account.
Oh, goodness.
Both of these were created today.
So how do you add another site if you already have one and you want to start another?
You go to templates.
Yeah.
And then just create another one, right?
And just start. Yep. Go to edit,
Oh, okay.
and there you go. Hit save.
So if I wanted, I've got a domain, I've got my domain, and I wanted to create another Wix account and then delete the Wix, the original Wix, I'd kind of do a scrolling page or something. So that's
You can very, very easily transfer your premium. Once you transfer your domain, it's very, very simple to do. It's basically, if you go into the My Account page, you'll see up here either packages. There's two ways to do it. You either go to packages, and if you transfer, just click transfer, and it'll show the other websites that you've built, and you can transfer it to those other websites. Or you can go to domains and just manage your domain, and then choose a different site. Yeah.
That wouldn't be the registration, are you talking about the registration being transferred to Wix, or are you talking about just having it point to the
She was just saying that if she wanted to redesign her website and switch it to the new website, how to do that.
But like on the domain, you don't require to have.
You don't have to do anything on the domain
registered to Wix, right?
For the question that I just answered, you don't have to. I'm not 100%. You're not being. Can you just explain a little bit further?
GoDaddy.
Yeah, so that's what I just showed before. Was that you can transfer? It's very easy to point your domain to Wix's servers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you guys have any other questions for myself or for Candice, we have only a few more minutes before I think Capital Factory will get sick of us. And we have the space till 8:30, so it will probably go a little bit over, and that will be fine. But feel free to come and ask me questions if you have more specific questions about Wix. Candice, Annie, ask any one of us, and yeah.
I've looked at trying to add music to my site. Can you go over that real quick?
Yeah, sure. If you, I can just sort of come
That's
because
fine. I just didn't know if that
everyone.
would benefit everybody or not.
Yeah. There you go.